All right, we continue with this developing story. Our reporter, Athi Mtongana, is in Cape Town for us. She's been covering that media briefing where we brought you snippets from various people who've taken to the podium. Let's get you a sense of what else was being said. Athi Mtongana joining us live. And Athi, Desmond Tutu being described in some part as one of the greatest of all Cape Townians. This is just going to be one of the many sentiments we're going to hear for the next couple of hours, without a doubt.
That's actually a quote from the City of Cape Town's Mayor Geordin who's standing by with me, Ayanda, and I want him then to speak about exactly what he meant by saying that the late Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu was the greatest Cape Townian. I want him to touch exactly on that note. But before I do that, I want to speak to one of the panelists, someone very important who headed the Desmond Tutu Foundation. Nick, thank you so much for your time. I think the last time I spoke to you was a couple of years ago when the Arch was not feeling well. I remember rushing to your home and you gave us that quick interview, giving us an update about how he was feeling and how he was recovering. But fast forward to today, that day where this big giant has fallen. Talk to us about the sentiments in the foundation right now.
Well, the sentiments in the foundation, and thank you for having us back. The sentiment of the foundation today is that we feel sorrow, relief at the same time. Some of us have a very close and personal relationship to the Arch. I personally have it through family ties for generations with the Tutus and the Matsekes. But there is another angle to it. We have a mission to continue on, which is to safeguard the legacy of the Tutus. And we heard other great speakers as the mayors and the Archbishop today conveying the brilliance of the Arch, the fact that he would embrace and unite and be able to make people listen to each other. And that's profoundly important in today's societies.
Now, talk to us about, I know it might still be early, but we do know that now you are working on a program that's basically going to be unfolding in the next few days, and as far as the funeral arrangements are concerned, what can you tell us apart from the road closures in terms of what the foundation has prepared for the funeral?
So, foundation has prepared a few things. Firstly, we're preparing to open up, although it's been locked down for the holidays, for some of the closest friends of the Arch to have a place to be at. But it's also important that we are cooperating now together with the IP Trust, who also carries the legacy, together our sister organization, with the city, with the state, and with church. So I have been meeting with the presidency and the Archbishop's office and the city, and we are doing it again later on today to make sure that things run as smoothly as possible, that they are the wishes of the family are being honored, that the style and the tone that Desmond Tutu deserves is there, but also that people of this country and people around the world are able to share this moment, because he was so profoundly important to so many of us.
In those meetings, are there any dates that have been put or thrown around where perhaps we can get an indication as to when the funeral proceedings might take place, and even memorial services leading up to the funeral?
So obviously the funeral itself will be here in the city of Cape Town, and the church and the Archbishop Mahoba is really leading that process. But when it comes to memorial services, they are also being planned, but no dates are confirmed as of today, because we literally sat there this morning with Auntie Leah and Father next to, and it's a little bit too early for us to give you dates now.
Thank you so much, Niclas, for your time. The chairperson of the Desmond and Leah Tutu Foundation. Now, I'm going to bring in the mayor of Cape Town, Geordin. Thank you so much for your time. A giant has fallen. You described him as the greatest Cape Townian. Talk to us about, we know that you said you might have not met him, but obviously through his messages, many South Africans feel like they do know the Arch and feel like they have actually met him.
Yes, we all feel like we know him so well, don't we? Because of his wonderful warmth, personality, outsized sense of love and care, and wonderful sense of humor. And I personally feel so blessed that just a week ago, via Archbishop Makgoba, I got a note from the late Archbishop Tutu wishing me so well and saying that he's praying for me. And so yes, I mean, he was just a remarkable human being whose 90 years influenced this country in ways that very few other people in history have, and who will be able to do so even in future. So he really was a remarkable human being, and a great South African and Capetonian.
We know that it's still quite early to talk about funeral arrangements. Even the foundation is not giving us a date yet because it is still quite early. But you mentioned a couple of road closures. I mean, we were in Milnerton earlier on where road closures are already in place and around Cape Town. Talk to us about those logistics.
Yes, there's road closures around the Tutu's home. We're not announcing the names of those roads. We want the family have asked for it to remain confidential, and that's absolutely fine. We'll honour that. There's also road closures around St. George's Cathedral because we expect Capetonians and South Africans to come down and share their love and affection for the Arch by going to the cathedral, and we invite them to do so. There's a condolence book there, like the one behind us, with candles, and everyone can go down there, leave a message of remembrance for the Arch. So those road closures will be in effect for the next few days at least, until the funeral. And anything else that we can do, as you heard me say this morning, ours is a role of support to say to the family and to the church, we want this great Capetonian, this great South African, to be remembered with the love and affection that he deserves, and we will do our parts to make sure that that happens.
Thank you so much for your time, the Mayor of Cape Town, Geordin Hill-Lewis. I'm going to ask my colleague to sneak in a shot of this big picture of the late Arch Desmond Tutu up there, standing with the late former President Nelson Mandela here at the City of Cape Town Civic Centre. And as you heard from the Mayor of Cape Town, that their role as the City of Cape Town is to support any events that are going to be planned in the next few days. Now, quickly, I want to bring in the Minister of Public Works, Patricia de Lille. Thank you so much, Minister, for your time. You're not a stranger in terms of the workings of the Arch in the City of Cape Town. Talk to us about the relationship that you had with him.
Well, I think I'm very privileged and honored that while our Arch was still alive, that we could honor him and give back to him. And as the Mayor of the City of Cape Town in 2015, when he was also very, very sick, and they had to go for treatment to America, I started putting a plan together for the eventuality. And so we still have that plan today. But he used to say to me, when I became the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, now responsible for state funerals, he said, I pray that you've come full circle. So for me, it's very personal. I also work with Ravi Naidu when we build at the entrance of the gardens. There's got this arch for an arch. We did that, special design, and what is in the design is the Bill of Rights of our Constitution. And so I've never missed any birthday of Mama Leah and Arch. But I also received a lot of counsel from him. He used to use always the opportunity to speak Afrikaans when he sees me. He used to call me Osi. And so even during my fights with the city, he prayed for me. He reached out. He always said to me, you're going to win because truth and God is on your side. So, you know, we're very sad.
Talk to us then about those plans that you had back then, which we believe will still be under the City of Cape Town municipality where we are, and certainly now having the city to work with the state as a planner or as a minister in this particular department that she had, Public Works and Infrastructure. What kind of plans are we talking about here?
Well, first of all, the city of Cape Town, because it's in the city, they will help with security, with the road closures, with the staging of events. National government will be responsible for all the infrastructure at the house, infrastructure at the church. So it's a collaborative effort between the city and national government to make sure that we put everything in place. We are meeting this afternoon at 5 o'clock to finalize what will happen on which day. And then the family will then make an announcement later today.
Thank you so much, Minister, for your time. Patricia de Lille, the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, talking to us about the fact that they will have a meeting later on. It's a collaborative effort to plan a funeral of this big giant that has fallen. The city, the state, the church, the foundation, and many other sister foundations will be meeting later this afternoon to obviously plan the finer details, and then later the family will make an announcement because there are no dates at the stage. The family will make those announcements in as far as the funeral dates and the memorial services are concerned.
Absolutely. Athi Mtongana, thanks very much indeed. Live to us there with reaction at the Cape Town Civic Centre on the back of that impromptu briefing from the City of Cape Town and many other officials to, of course, give us what we know so far about what happens next after the passing of this giant.